I think all of us at one point in time experience that moment of epiphany. Damn, was I desperate, huh? When you look back on that relationship that fucked you up, you recognize how you were begging this person to love you, how you tried to prove yourself that you are good enough, how you became pissed when they didn't show you that love. And yet you kept on going. We never give up, do we? We should. Sometimes we should. And that's exactly how I felt looking at the two couples from the new Netflix reality TV that is messing up with our minds, Cheat Unfinished Business. And the two couples are Connor and Lucia.
Because I know I shouldn't have done that to you. Like, genuine, like, I am really sorry.
I don't believe the whole, I was young and immature.
And Olivia and Liam.
You can't continue to punish me for something I did.
But I don't think you realise how much that betrayal affected me.
And boy, oof. If you watch the show, you already know. And if you haven't watched the show, don't you worry. I'll get you on track, okay? We can all use a little bit of drama, huh? One day I will be healthy. So if you haven't watched my first video on this show where I go through all the couples that are on the show, let me just give you a little recap. There are 8 couples. They come to this retreat because they feel like there's a spark. They want to continue or try again the relationship after experiencing the betrayal. And spoiler alert, the pairing is usually that the guy cheated and the woman needs to somehow get through it. But in this video, I really want to focus on this whole thing of being desperate for love or staying in relationship where, you shouldn't. Overstaying the relationship, might I say. And we're going to kind of use these two couples to see where does it go wrong? Where are the risks in our journey that we could spot, but we kind of decide not to? And why do we keep holding on to hope when it's kind of ridiculous? Now, I'm going to do my best to use the couples to extract insights that could serve us in our relationships. But at the same time, if I start bitching about how I just can't stand Liam or Connor, I'm human. Wait, maybe I shouldn't reveal this at the beginning. Now, you know how we do it here. We narrate, we analyze, we often judge. And we do believe that we know better and would do better. Hopefully. So Lucia and Connor are what you would call each other's first love.
From the get-go, and we did believe that we were soulmates.
That first sparks that went south. You see, Connor cheated on Lucia. She found out. They broke it off. But now, 5 years later, they are back at this retreat and the energies are different. While Lucia has this feeling of, I want to fix it, I want to understand why, because he was my first love and it seems that only love so far. While Connor is like, I'm here to check the vibes. Like, let's see where this goes.
We'll just see what happens then, yeah? Happy to leave it like that?
Leave it like that.
Don't get a hug.
Sure, I'm so happy seeing her. It makes me feel a little bit tinglish in my stomach, but who knows? Maybe it was the Mexican food that I just ate. The problem is that while he has that attitude, at the same time, it seems that to Lucia, he's saying that, he really wants to do this. He wants to try with her and he is ready for this. But, it's not giving truth. The whole start is very messy because when Connor and Lucia meet, that first meetup at the retreat, after they kind of ended, Connor is like, so, are you cracking on with someone? And she is appalled because what the F is this man talking about? Aren't we here to fix things between the two of us? And mind you, she's bawling all this time because, he cheated on her.
He made a joke at the end, like, asking me if I cracked on with anyone recent. I don't think he's genuine at all.
So the fact that he's even joking about cracking it on with someone else, it doesn't make Lucia feel good. But here's the thing. Usually, when a guy has this, unserious player vibe, there are 2 ways we go about it, right? As women in a relationship or a situationship. The first way is like, I do not have time for this. You need to grow up, mature the fuck up, and try it with someone else, okay? I'm looking for something different. The second way is the one that usually gets us. And it is this, you know what? I get it. I understand. This man probably has feelings. I know he has feelings. They're just hidden behind this facade, this external performance. And if I can just crack that, if I can just pull it away and make him realize that he's safe in sharing these emotions with me, will be golden. The one that usually turns into, yeah, I was wrong. I was dating a potential. And this is exactly how our expert Paul is approaching this. For those of you who don't know, in this show, they also have a relationship expert that kind of helps them on this journey. And I'm going to tell you, I like Paul, okay? Me likey Paul, I like how he is direct. I also understand when he's a little bit like Polly, maybe be a little bit more direct. But overall, he feels good. I mean, clearly, I think this is his show, so of course he's going to be shown as good. What do you think I'm doing here? Oh, every time I come off as bitch, I cut it out. Should I be saying that? The structure of the show, it's like this. You know, the couples meet up, they talk about it, maybe they do some exercises, and then they go into this so-called reckoning room where they check the vibes. Where are they on their process? And Paul gives them also, you know, his 2 cents and maybe some advice on how to move forward. So after this first meetup, when Connor was all unserious, Paul gives them his perspective. And he basically says, in clearly very diplomatic way, that Connor is a little insecure bitch. No, wait, that's what I'm saying. I think I'm going to edit the shit out of this video. It's all in good fun, okay? Don't take it too serious.
Connor, what I see is an insecurity, which, by the way, every human being has insecurities.
He tells them that everyone is insecure in some way. The difference is how you cope with that insecurity. And what he is observing is that Connor is the type of person who copes with insecurity by saying stupid shit.
You say stupid stuff.
Crack the code, we can all go home. I mean, on the other hand, you can also understand it, right? And that's exactly what Connor says. He does feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little bit awkward in front of everyone. And maybe it's because he knows he's in the wrong and he feels a little bit embarrassed about it, which, you know, I can kind of understand. I mean, I don't understand how do you apply to a show like this, but at the same time, I can understand how he might feel like, oh my God, now everyone knows that I cheated and I'm the bad guy in this situation, or the guy that betrayed their partner. So he's maybe deflecting with this jokingness and so on. When it comes to Lucia, though, expert Paul wants to make sure that Lucia is clear about why is she in this retreat. Yes, you are here for the relationship, but you also need to work on yourself, sweetie, okay?
Don't set a low boundary and say, oh, Connor, jump over this low boundary for me. Don't do that. You set it high and you make his ass work for it.
Paul is saying to Lucia, Bess, you need to pull up and you need to make sure this man is not behaving in this way. While you are desperate to fix this relationship, he is just joking and he's just being unserious. And maybe, on some level, you need to realize that you two not good together. But will Lucia accept it? Will Lucia accept it, or will she hold on dearly to that part of, I can fix him? Well, would we have this video if things were healthy? The second couple is Olivia and Liam. So these are your long-term lovers. They've been together for 10 years. And Olivia actually met Liam when she was 18, which to me personally is problematic in itself. Of course, you can meet someone at that age and still develop a very good relationship. But usually what needs to happen is that the other person is also, you know, not someone who deals with a lot of need to cheat and lie, basically. But if at a young age you pair with someone who you put on a pedestal, who you see as, oh my God, the Almighty, he's going to teach me, then it it could easily crash and burn. By the way, last time I didn't know how old is Liam, which I want to check now. And I still can't find the information of how old is Liam to kind of understand what was even the age gap there. But basically, it all started with Liam kissing another girl at the beginning of their relationship. And according to Liam, Olivia is not letting it go.
That's the ultimatum. You either want to move forward with me, Olivia, or you don't. Because I told you, I'm so sick of this shit now.
She's just stuck to that, and she brings it up whenever she can. On Olivia's side, she's like, boy, it's not because of that. It's because during the whole 10-year relationship, you never made me feel as a priority. You never really showed me that you are committed to me. So I never really got a chance to actually rebuild trust from that first mistake.
Your female friends will be there at family events and I wouldn't even be invited.
Liam is the type of guy who's like, you know what? Get over it. Get over it or I am walking away. And if you want to, hear the details of how all of that went down, I did it in the first video. So right now, Olivia and Liam are trying to come back together because Olivia ended the relationship because she found out that Liam cheated on her again.
You don't know her?
No.
You slept with her? And apparently you messaged her after as well and she didn't reply to you.
I have no clue what that is.
Now, Liam, no. This is not true. People are just after him and Olivia needs to drop it. If she's going to constantly doubt him, if she's going to constantly believe these other people that want to break them up because apparently Liam is a celebrity and a famous guy and that's his normal life,
There's always going to be somebody talking shit.
then he is going to walk away. At this point, he has had it. This is like, when is she going to drop it? When is she going to drop constantly accusing him that he is cheating when he is not?
You raised another accusation again. This took 10 years for us to move forward from the last one, and you're trying to put something else into the mix. How do you think we're ever going to go anywhere?
The same way, in this reckoning room, Paul confronts Liam, and he's like, Liam, if you want to walk away, please stand up and walk away.
The door is right here.
Paul is not playing. Paul is like, if you are here to give Olivia the ultimatum, which is shut up or I'm leaving, then be my guest. Walk away now because that's not the attitude that you bring into the relationship. And you know what happens? You know what happens with the man that wants to shut you down to get what they want and then they are being called on the bluff?
Definitely not.
Well, they are being called on the bluff because suddenly Liam, of course he doesn't want to walk away. He just tried to, put Olivia in place, I guess.
The whole reason that I'm here is because obviously I love this woman. There ain't no one else.
If that would not be enough for me, if I was Olivia to walk away, I don't know. Like the fact that he tried to manipulate her into being quiet. And then luckily the expert called him out on that and said, if you really are doing this, then you should walk away. Making him change his tune. I'm like, okay, wow, this man is full of honesty and transparency and fairness. They bring up the new allegations about cheating and Liam is clearly denying that.
It's bullshit.
Now the expert asks Olivia, what does she need from Liam to feel like they can continue this or they can give each other one more chance? And Olivia says that all she needs is to feel like he is fighting for the two of them, that he actually wants her. And that's not something that she feels right now.
I don't know where I stand with him. I don't know how he feels. I don't know what he's thinking. I want him to fight for this relationship.
She feels like she's alone in this, trying to mend the relationship, while Liam, she doesn't really get what is he even thinking. Now, Liam has words for Olivia because, whose problem is it that he is basically left almost with no fight?
I spent 10 years investing in you, putting into you, but there's no one else. I've said this a million times, there's no one else.
In order for them to move forward, what he needs is for Olivia to start believing him and start trusting in him again. Just like that, without any effort from his side, at least at this point. But it's a retreat. Maybe they'll work through things. Honestly, I am like being a little bit sassy with this whole situation because I have a very strong opinion on all of it. Am I going to present very strong arguments about why do I feel like this is not okay? Yes, I will, but also I'm good at that. Try to form your own opinion also. And according to our expert Paul, they will have to work on transparency and vulnerability. Being open with one another and go from there to rebuild this trust. So if I try to set the stage going into analysis and so on, clearly I see Lucia and Olivia being in some way very similar. And especially when it comes to this desperate to be loved by their partner and keep on waiting for that to happen. Both of them are women who are with their first love partners. I mean, we don't know for Olivia if Liam is her first love, but at 18 years old and being with him for 10 years, at least we can say it's her real serious relationship, right? While Lucia, she expresses that she didn't really have anyone after Connor, and she's still being attached to this first love with him. Now, there are a couple of things that happen when you pair with someone or when it comes to your first love, right? And those things can go in a healthy way or it can go the dark, dark path. And just for reference, I'm someone who started my first serious relationship when I was like 17, 18 years old. It was my first real love. And it lasted for almost 13 years. And let me tell you, when I talk about loss of identity, when I talk about loss of self-worth and things like that, I'm talking from my personal experience. So I kind of feel I almost relate a little bit to Olivia. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not talking out of my ass here. Okay. In some cases, I might. In this case, no, I'm not. So when it comes to this first love, the first thing is that in a way, and maybe let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. The first love is that first way or that first romantic way when you are testing or proving your self-worth. When you're young and you start with this first exchange of, flirtiness, hormones are flying around. There is this first way where you get to feel worthy enough or good enough to be loved. For someone to choose you as someone they fell in love with you because you are so perfect. Because that's also how we see love at that time, right? So when your first love ends in betrayal, like it happened with Lucia and also Olivia, it didn't end with betrayal, but it started with kind of betrayal. It becomes a hit at your self-worth. And it becomes a way of trying to prove yourself that you are good enough. Instead of recognizing that it has nothing to do with you and it has everything to do with the other person, in some twisted way, we always put the blame on us, right? Even if we think that we don't, subconsciously, when we're trying to get answers, when we're trying to understand, when we even continue the relationship with the other person, there is this drive of, I need to be proven that I am good enough. So, it's tricky in later on relationships, but I think it's especially tricky as a first love experience. The second thing is, which is very extremely obvious in Olivia's case, because she's been with this person for 10 years, is the enmeshment of identities. If you stay long time with your first person, with your first love, usually your identity is gonna develop together with this other person. And in a sense, as much as we don't want to admit it, it means that you are not really developing your own individual identity as much as you would if you would be single or the majority of time single or whatever. You would have space to develop yourself. When you are with someone else and when you are young, that inevitably becomes a merged identity. right? Especially if you are someone who struggles with their own self-worth. And especially if you pair with someone who you feel like they are the perfect person and they are the best guy and the coolest guy, and you kind of put them on a pedestal, and that's how also your identity is developing. And somehow I feel like it happens a lot with women. In case of Lucia, knowing that she didn't have any serious partners after Connor, I mean, he is the blueprint, let's say. The first partner or the first long-term or serious partner will usually set the tone of how normal you find chaos, conflict, and even love or expressions of love. So if I look at Lucia, and the fact that Connor is a little bit more jokey and unserious and so on, she kind of got used to that is a normal approach. So when he is like that, she does not recognize it as an actual problem. She just sees it as, he's just being stupid. And when it comes to Olivia, we could say that it seems that Olivia almost became used to stonewalling or accepting Liam not wanting to show her commitment or not wanting to actually like do better for her and for the relationship. So she can easily just be stuck all the time because it kind of became normal that she can't really get anything from Liam. So for both girls at this point, we can say that they are searching more for reassurance from their partners.
I don't think he's genuine at all.
I want him to fight for this relationship.
Then actually understanding if the relationship is good, if they have respect for one another, if they will support one another, if they will actually create real partnership. They're also both in a situation where their partners decided on how committed or honest they will be, while the two of them are then carrying the whole emotional labor of actually keep this going. Because if he says no, if he just shut down, or if he's not serious, then I'm the one who needs to now figure out how to even make this possible to continue. Not recognizing that maybe the answer is you shouldn't, but okay. And the thing is that each time both Lucia and Olivia accept different mistakes or accept disrespect or dishonesty or unseriousness, let's say, like not actually treating them as a valuable, equal person, their tolerance for what they accept and what is normal lowers. Not lowers. You have a high tolerance towards it. You accept lower and lower standards, and that makes you stay longer because each time you just accept a little bit less until you're just accepting a lot. When it comes to guys, the angle is this, I guess, insecurity prevents them to actually be transparent and honest. So when it comes to Connor, he's hiding behind this unhinged behavior, this unseriousness, even though he actually wants emotional connection. While Liam is, instead of being vulnerable about his wrongdoings, he's just shutting the conversations down. But both of the couples decide that they are going to continue with this retreat and try to see if they can make it work. And the first exercise that Paul comes up with is so-called exchange.
This is someone from the opposite side of the retreat who will have an insight into their relationship and hopefully be able to offer them some advice.
An exchange. I see what you did there.
Look, haven't we been in a position where you would just like to hear from, let's say, the BFF of your partner on where their mind is at? What is going on? Let me know if I should just walk away because you know what he or she is actually thinking and you could just spare me all the hurt right now, right? And this is, I guess, what Paul is trying to do. Now, at this point, there is no close friends to these people. So he's just using the other exes in this retreat. So this retreat is also made of like 2 houses, kind of. And exes are not living with each other, but they are living with other exes. And clearly there is a lot of conversations, right? So the idea is, let's get the insight. And boy, do we get insights. And just to add my 2 cents on this, when it comes to wanting to hear from someone else, like I get the appeal, I've done it myself, but it's almost, you know, in reality is just a bit of a cop-out. It's a cop-out when you are not able to make the decision, or you don't want to make the decision because the decision you should make is not really favorable. So you're almost like postponing that this other person is going to tell you what to do, right? And if they tell me something, then I'm going to do it sometimes. It's also a very easy way to almost push the blame on that person if you make the wrong decision, even though we are doing it because we want in a way to hear an objective opinion that will help us stop thinking up here, right? But in reality, like a lot of times we know down here, right? We know in our gut feeling, in our feelings in general, how we are treated in the relationship, how we are feeling in general in the relationship. And we genuinely don't need the other person to tell us if those feelings are right or not right. So just have that in mind. So we start with Lucia, who has a little exchange with Dan. So Dan is one of the other exes, and him and Connor kind of, you know, I guess are clicking.
Connor's my boy, and he's low on self-esteem at the moment because Lucia hasn't given him a chance to even say what he thinks or how he feels.
Now, Lucia is going into this trying to understand if Connor has good intentions, right? Why is he here? If he's actually here to work on things. And, you know, she is coming into this a little bit insecure and doubting because he was already talking about hooking up with other people, you know, so it's kind of like sus. Dan, on the other hand, Dan got to know Connor, and he is here to protect his boy. You see, according to Dan, Connor has way too low self-esteem. He is putting way too much work into trying to make Lucia feel better, when in reality, is that fair? Is that actually how they should be approaching this situation? I mean, look, they are equal. So Lucia should give Connor a chance and not make him feel like he constantly needs to prove himself to her. And he wants to, straighten out the playing field.
It's all about her at the moment, and I'm not a fan of it.
He wants to make sure that Lucia can't just be like, you need to prove me, you need to show me. Because if Lucia, like her name pronunciation every time is a bit different, to be honest. Also on the show. If Lucia is not going to give Connor a real chance, I mean, who's to say that Connor doesn't have other options?
Think of it this way. If someone keeps going at you, it's going to push them away. I'm not here to throw Connor under the bus, but he found her attractive.
Yes, Biz. Dan is going with the, I'm going to make her jealous, so she realizes that she cannot, you know, she needs to put some effort in it too. So the whole, oh my God, it's so funny. But what happens is that when they're in these houses, these people play some games, right? Maybe it's infused by producers asking them, whatever. And the game was, who would you hook up with if your ex wasn't at this retreat, right? If you weren't here to fix with your ex. And Connor mentions another girl, right? And this is what Dan says to Lucia.
So you're trying to say to me that he's here for me, but if I keep shooting him down, he's going to go for Amberly.
So Dan is going into this with the jealousy nudge, you know, be careful, Lucy, because otherwise he might dip the other way. And look, I understand. He is looking at the situation as, you know what? It's unfair to Connor that he needs to put all of this extra work and prove to Lucia when they are here to move forward or to try to see if there is still a relationship that they can maybe rebuild in a fresh way. Just as a reminder, it's been 5 years since they ended, right? And I get how he is trying to look out for Connor because he doesn't want Connor to feel like he is all low and he needs to prove himself to Lucia and so on, because he's like, that's unfair, you know? You are here to try to start fresh. But the problem is that Dan is forgetting, or Dan is looking at this situation as though this is one-to-one, when in reality, it is not one-to-one because Connor already betrayed Lucia. Connor, in my personal opinion, needs to do double the work to first level out the trust between him and Lucia, to then work on the relationship from a one-on-one point of view. Like we are both, we both have the same level of trust, we both have the same level of commitment, and now we are working from that, right? And I think that that's the problem with people like Dan. When they make something bad, they make a mistake, they enter the relationship, but underneath it all, they have this fear of being a puss, right? Of not being the man in the relationship, or the woman having some kind of advantage of upper hand, or that you need to prove yourself to her, right? He's the type who would say, well, yeah, okay, I did a mistake and I acknowledge it, but you're not perfect also, okay? So, don't just expect me to be now at your feet because I did this mistake. Which in general, like you could say that also makes sense. Like it doesn't mean just because you made a mistake that the other person can now, like make you feel even worse and use that against you and so on. Like that's not okay at all. But at the same time, the same way that other person shouldn't do that, you who betrayed also can't go in and focus more on, am I doing now too much? You did betray. There will inevitably be needed more work from your side to rebuild the trust with the other person than it will be from the other person's side. That will just be by default because you're the one who did it. Period. And guys like Dan, I think, have problem accepting that because they're more focused on, I don't want to be a puss in the relationship, And that's also how he is approaching Lucia and giving her this advice. Because the fact that he wants to make her not be, harsh with Connor with the jealousy thing, it's basically building this thing of Lucia will work with him because she will be afraid of losing him. And when you are in that situation, when you are in that dynamic, it will never actually be healthy because it's all based on fears of losing someone, fears of being alone, rather than the actual relationship, rather than how the two of you work together, rather than how compatible are you. Like rather than nurturing that, it's more about how do I make sure not to lose you, which usually in the process of that, you lose yourself. Yay! By the way, I find it so funny and so hilarious that people who use jealousy as a way to stay with them will also be the ones who will tell you, why don't you trust me? Like they will make you feel like they have options and they can walk away at any time. But at the same time, they will be annoyed with you. Why are you so insecure? And why are you constantly jealous? And why don't you trust them? Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. And honestly, in my humble opinion, the type that does that is the type who feels like they're better than you, feels like that they're above you, and they want you to be afraid, but at the same time, never say anything. Yeah, it's fucked up, and I hope you recognize it before you lose yourself. Like many of situations. But luckily, it freaking backfires.
You're allowed to find someone attractive, even though they're not your partner.
Yeah, but Connor's found girls attractive and slept with them and cheated on me.
So his attempt backfires because she cannot believe that when she already feels insecure about the situation, now this man is coming to her and telling her, well, I mean, you should be a bit afraid, huh? And that's good. That is, like, there is clearly a sense of self-awareness when it comes to Lucia because, honestly, there are women or people in general that would take the other way, that would be like, oh shit, yeah, I need to chill. I need to do this. And look, in some cases, it could be justifiable, right? But I wouldn't say it is justifiable at the beginning when you're trying to recover from the betrayal, which honestly, there's another person who did this. But we're going to talk about Jazz, Craig, and all that shenanigans in the next video, I think. Now, in this, she also shares that Connor already destroyed her confidence.
Like, he's made me so insecure of myself. Like,
I know.
Person in that.
And I think this ties very well into what we talked about, being the first love, proof of self-worth. He betrayed her. She doesn't even understand why. So clearly something is wrong with her. And the fact that Dan is again now fueling that part, I mean, it's good that she recognizes that this is not okay, that this is not going to help her or the relationship. But if you don't recognize this, there is kind of two things that can happen when jealousy works on you, or when he's going to pull back if you don't chill down, works on you. And the first thing, if we talk about jealousy, is that you actually focus on jealousy rather than the actual relationship and what you need to work there. And the second thing is that you start feeling responsible for the other person's feelings and fixing the relationship. So you start feeling like, if I don't show this person that they are appreciated, then they will not put in the work, which creates, again, imbalance in the dynamic where this person betrayed you, and instead of them helping you rebuild in some way that trust, if you want to work on the relationship, it flips again. You're the one who now needs to manage their feelings. You're the one who needs to make sure that they have the, the stamina to move forward, right? You need to encourage them to work on this. On the other hand, peeps, Mary, I'm not so mad that Dan fucked up with Lucia and basically kind of in some way threw Connor under the bus. Because honestly, to me, Connor did not convince me in the slightest. So, I mean, it's good. It's good. Make even more, create even more problems between the two of them.
Sometimes words just come out my mouth and then I think I shouldn't have said that.
But you know what? Maybe Lucia didn't get the reassurance she needed from Dan, but maybe she will get it from Jazz. Now, Jazz has this exchange exercise with Connor. And Jazz, Lucia is her girl, so she's going there to see where Connor's head is at. Like, what are his actual intentions? Now, Connor sticks to his story or sticks to why he is here.
He doesn't have that impression that you actually want a future.
Completely opposite to that. I've got so much time for this girl.
So here's the thing. He believes that Lucia is the best girl he ever met, right? And he does want to try with her. He actually wants to try to, rebuild this relationship. But at the same time, it's been 5 years. So it's like, we also need to get to know each other.
I need to spend time with her, to really see where we're both at. Because, I haven't spoken to Lucia properly in 5 years.
But at the same time, Lucia should also just understand that Connor is a different person today. He would not do to her what he did in the past. He's changed, and she should just give him a chance.
Because she hasn't actually seen me, we haven't spent quality one-on-one time together, she's not going to see this side
now, peeps, why am I calling you peeps? I don't know. On the surface, this feels logical. This is totally fair, right? But if you really think about it, and if you position yourself in Lucia's shoes, this is all so confusing. On one hand, he wants to be with Lucia. He doesn't like that she doesn't give him a chance because he changed. But at the same time, he also just wants to check the vibe with her. So what are you actually after right now? The second thing is that he is approaching this situation as though the 5 years past also erase the experience that Lucia went through, the loss of trust and the loss of self-esteem that she experienced because of that situation. And because in his mind, he's a changed person, she should also just hop on board. And the fact that she's not doing that, that's a problem. And I've talked about it before. I think it was between Carrie and Aidan. In a lot of cases, cheaters want to almost just have the fresh start. And you should just forget about everything that happened because I can promise you that I wouldn't do this again. Because I trust myself, then you should also trust me. Totally dismissing the experience of the other person, which also shows they are dismissing the other person as someone who deserves to have their own way of healing from the betrayal. Does that make sense? Like they're almost like, I don't like that you need more from me to prove you that I wouldn't do this again. Because if I know that I wouldn't do this again, then why don't you just trust me? Which becomes very interesting because often the reason why someone cheated is because it just happened. So if you're telling me that you know now that you wouldn't cheat and I would just trust you, does that mean that before you actually were in a relationship where you were very open to cheating? Like, does that mean that at that time you knew that you could cheat and that's why it happened? But then how can it be that you were stupid and you just didn't know better, or it just happened, or it was just a drunken night, or just something pushed you into doing it? But now you want me to trust you that you would never do it because now you know. But at that time you didn't know. Like, I mean, the mental gymnastic that you need to do to make it make sense when they ask you to just let it go, it's crazy. And honestly, in my opinion, when someone is approaching the situation like that, or in this case, Connor, being unserious and, being this hot and cold attitude, I think that at the end of the day, the reason is because they don't care. Like simple as that. They don't actually care where it will go. Or they care up to a level where they can have someone all the time, but they don't really care about you as a person and about building a partnership and a relationship. That's just how I see it. And that's why, in this case, Connor, if we take him as an example, he is hiding behind immaturity. There's a reason why he's continuing this. And in Connor's case, it might be he just wants to stay on the show. But at the same time, he doesn't really want Lucia. Right? So he's using immaturity to create this confusion to still keep her kind of stuck and going. So he's minimizing what happened under the we don't really know each other anymore. I shouldn't be held accountable for what happened. Then this ties into him just trying to have like a reset button, like we're just gonna start again and I don't have to have again any accountability for the past. And at the same time, he's almost like creating an illusion of future. Get to know me now, but there was still a version of you that betrayed me, and we need to work through that. So basically, Lucia is again hit with not really understanding Connor's intentions because Jazz returns and she's like, yeah, I'm also confused by him.
I was trying to dig and be like, what's your intentions? And then, he was just saying that, oh, I haven't seen her in 5 years. He's like, oh, yeah, well, we need to get to know each other again.
But not only that, she also hits her with Connor being dishonest.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what you say to everybody, that you haven't seen each other for like 5 years.
So you know how this whole time Connors was saying like it's been 5 years and we don't really know each other and so on. Well, that is all bullshit. Because these two have been in contact for a couple of times in those 5 years, which also makes you think like, well, clearly then she cannot let go if he keeps reappearing in her life, be it she going to him or he going to her. And actually, they hooked up a month before coming into this retreat.
It was only a month ago that I was in his bed with him.
Now, when this happens, when someone is almost trying to rewrite the reality in some way, two things can happen, right? So in case of Lucia, this is very easily called out as a lie because she clearly knows they had an intercourse. So now the question is, why are you lying, right? And we'll get into that. But in a lot of cases, and let me know in the comments below, but I wouldn't be surprised if every one of us found themselves in that situation when you are in a toxic relationship, okay? Where the situation is not so clear. For example, I thought that we agreed on exclusivity because we said that we really like each other and we want to invest in this. And then this person maybe dates also another person at the same time, or they hook up with them. And then you're like, wait, didn't we agree to be exclusive? And then this person would say, well, no, I never really said to be exclusive. Have I ever really said that? Or we just said that we liked each other and we want to invest in this seriously. And that's when you start to be like, wait, am I in the wrong here? Like, okay, yeah, it's true. It's actually true. Is it true? Did we agree on being exclusive or not really? Maybe I just wanted it so much and then I just agreed. But yeah, maybe he never really said, there are situations where you are, kind of put in a situation where you don't have this definite black and white. And because you're maybe desperate to be with this person, you just justify and say, okay, yeah, maybe I thought, but it wasn't really the real thing, right? And the reason why it becomes a problem is that you basically now start to questioning your own credibility or trying to prove your credibility rather than what is the actual problem. The actual problem, for example, in this case is you hooked up with someone else without me knowing, while we are acting like we're dating, we are doing things that feel committed. We also agree that we're going to try do this seriously, or that you actually like me. Instead of focusing on that, now you're focusing in, well, first of all, proving that you were right. And usually that doesn't matter, because even if you were right, they will still say, no, I never said exclusive, and then do with that what you will. The focus always shifts from what is actually the problem to your jealousy or your credibility. And it happens much more often than we think it does. Don't get paranoid now. Just have it in mind when you feel like you've been gaslit. That's the other word. Now, why do people do this? It's kind of easy if you think about it. I mean, isn't it easier to have someone hooked if they are confused? If they don't really get the answers and they are in this limbo, deciding where to go, isn't it easier that they will actually stick with you longer? In my personal opinion, if you are with someone and most of the time you feel confused, you feel like you don't have answers or you don't have clarity, but at the same time, you also don't know if you're maybe exaggerating, if, you're just making shit up and so on. Usually you are not making shit up, and no clarity is already clarity enough. If you feel confused in a situation, play with the thought, don't dismiss that person might actually be shady, and confusion is what is on their side. And speaking of confusion, another thing in common that Olivia and Lucia have is that, well, Olivia herself is also very confused by Liam because, like we said, on one hand, she has proof that Liam cheated while Liam is denying it. And she does not know how to gap this bridge, because in reality, she shouldn't be gapping this bridge. She shouldn't be trying gapping this bridge. But clearly, this woman is in the typical, I don't know who I am without Liam because we've been together for so long and we started very young. I've invested already so much in this, and when we are good, we're good type of thing, right? So she is confused because she doesn't really know what to do. And if we take everything that I just said, it's exactly proof that when you are in this situation, what's driving you is not reality and it's nothing healthy. So confusion is the clarity you need to walk away. Now, when it comes to Olivia and Liam, Olivia has a little exchange with Rebecca G. Now, just a reminder, Rebecca G believes Liam, right? She is sharing the house with Liam, and Liam made everyone on their side, on his side, basically.
I'm sorry, but you're going back and forwards about the same things for 10 years. Like, I think it's something she needs to work on, not you. Yeah. You're not the problem.
So she's going into this conversation with that attitude. And it is interesting to see how by the end of conversation with Olivia, she's like, yeah, if I was Olivia, I would be out of this relationship 5 years ago.
If I'm honest, I probably would have walked away 5 years ago.
Olivia shares with Rebecca that she actually talked with the girl, and this girl had all the details. Like, she knew things you would only know if you did it with him.
Details that you wouldn't know unless.
So Olivia is pretty positive that they did it. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, then why is she still there? Well, it seems that Olivia, all she wants is for Liam to want to work on the relationship, for Liam to admit it and then show that he wants to fight for Olivia. Honestly, Olivia is in deep, deep waters. Because, there's one thing of saying, you know what, I just want him, like, I want to get the truth. And that's why I'm stuck in this situation, because I don't want to really accept the no clarity as the reason to walk away, because then maybe I made a mistake and blah, 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 right? And I shouldn't do it and so on. So I want a definite proof. That's also something that our brain wants. Our brain is like, if we're not certain, if we don't have the end of this story, solid proof, do we really know how to move forward? I mean, do we want to risk to make that mistake? And here's the thing. When your self-esteem is low, and especially if someone kept on feeding into that low esteem, that risk of making a mistake is more real, because you already don't trust yourself. You already feel like you're maybe exaggerating, you're too much, right? Especially if someone was like in your ear all the time. So then you are more, like you're even more seeking for that reassurance. It's kind of fucked up. It's very sneaky. In reality, if you take a step back and look at the situation, you just say, "Bis, I don't want to feel this way right now. I'm making a mistake right now. Not being afraid of a future mistake. Do I want to live my life like this? No." Walk away. And look, I think that partners like Liam, who stonewall you, who lie to you and so on, they use that. They sniff it out in some way. Your low self-esteem, you doubting yourself, you not trusting yourself. And they use that to keep you stuck. Because they know, if I put a bit of doubt in what she thinks is the truth, she'll just continue to be stuck. Okay, let's calm down now.
So that's why I'm struggling to believe him. But wouldn't you know if he's cheated on me or not? Like, wouldn't you know? Now,
the catch with Olivia is that it doesn't seem that she's even in that stage where she is like, I need solid proof to walk away. No, Bess. She's in the stage of, I need him to admit it so we can move forward. I need him to show me that he wants to fight for me. Right? And honestly, when she says that she wants him to fight for her, I think that's what she's trying to say is stop the stonewalling, right? If I want to talk to you, if we want to communicate, if I need to talk to you and understand better and so on, please engage, because that's how you show me that you actually care about me and you actually want good for this relationship. But when you just shut it down, then that's not happening. And I don't feel like you actually want to fix it. Olivia is someone who's just like, I just need him to admit it. And honestly, in my personal opinion, there's a reason for that. If you are in a situation like Olivia, or in a position where you're not even focused anymore on what has happened, but you're more focused on admit that it has happened, I would say you've been probably gaslit for so long, your self-trust is so low, and you probably have been stonewalled for so long that you are just desperate for someone to tell you, you are not crazy. Just give me that reassurance that I'm not making shit up. Because you don't even have the energy to deal with, well, what actually happened and what does it mean. By the time you get there, you're already so exhausted because you constantly feel, or you are constantly in a confused state. And that's what I think Olivia is going through. She doesn't even care that he cheated. She cares more about getting him to admit it because she knows it's true, which is very telling of her self-esteem. Like, shouldn't she be more worried about the fact that he did cheat and what does that mean, rather than if he admits it or not? Like, let that sink in. Now, on the other hand, Liam has exchanged with Rebecca C., who is actually Dan's partner, the one who talked with Lucia. Okay, doesn't really matter, but Rebecca is also tight with Olivia, and she is on a mission. She's like, you know what? I am not a softie like Olivia. I call out bullshit when I see bullshit. So I'm going to Liam and I'm gonna make him cut the freaking crap.
Olivia does not believe a word of what Liam's saying. She knows that there's something there. I think it's a good pairing because I'm not going to take his shit and I will call him out on it.
Long story short, she comes back and she's like, yeah, I'm so confused.
He just has an answer for everything. It's an incredible skill. It really is.
So basically what happened is that Rebecca starts asking Liam if he hooked up with this girl, right? If these accusations are true. And Liam is again like, I don't know. No, I'm being rude. I'll be
honest with you, I don't even know what she's talking about.
Now, side note, they didn't really show us, but apparently the story developed a little bit, Liam's story. So it went from he doesn't even know this person or like he did not cheat to I don't know if I cheated. Now, they didn't even really show us when did this happen, but this is now the state because this is also how Rebecca is approaching Liam, saying, how can you not remember? Like, how do you not know? But basically, Liam is like, I don't remember. It seems that at this point. And not only that, he doesn't even understand what is the point.
If you've cheated, you would know.
Yeah, but my main thing is that even once this is all ironed out, is she still going to think that I've got another 10 years to be trying to make her come back from that because I've got no time for that?
What is the point of Olivia needing to know it? I mean, they are here to fix this relationship or to try again. Why does she need to know if he did cheat, didn't cheat, does he remember, doesn't he remember? Clearly, this is the point where Rebecca starts to get frustrated and confused because according to her, Liam has an answer for everything. You can't really get through with basically nothing. So she takes another approach, right? She's like, you know what? You've been with Olivia for 10 or going on 11 years. There were so many allegations. If I'm being honest, if I was Olivia, I would walk away, right? I would walk away long ago. And I guess she's also trying to make him feel like, you know, you should appreciate the fact that she even wants to work it with you because a lot of people wouldn't. So you should take some kind of, you know, responsibility and also invest the same amount back.
For all the allegations, all the cheating, I'd have been gone.
And Liam is looking at her like, okay, and that's exactly the thing, right? The problem is that people like Liam would not be with someone who would not put up with this. People like Liam wouldn't pair with someone who has a good self-esteem, with someone who, knows how to stand up for themselves. That would just not be in their radar. So when Rebecca is trying to make that point, he's like, I don't even understand what are you trying to say because, Biss, I wouldn't be even interested in a person like you. When someone is so comfortable in stonewalling, gaslighting, lying even, it is clear that they search or they will only pair with the type of person who will actually accept that. And here's the thing, let's not forget that the thing that Liam loved about Olivia, when they started, is that she always put other people first.
I've never met a girl that's like her, you know, she's always putting people first.
I mean, clearly, he's gonna pair with someone like that because that gives him already the, leg up or something. Not only will he put himself first, but also Olivia will put him first. People like that pair with people who let them get away with things. Period. And you can't tell them, oh, you know, no one else would do it because he's like, I would find another person like that. Or, well, that's why we're together for 10 years and she's still here. Because I chose that person for a reason, in my humble opinion. Rebecca basically gives up. And she's like, well, he's a tough nut to crack. And honestly, she has a lot of sympathy for Olivia because she can see why Olivia is so stuck and so confused. And she can also see that it's because of how attached she is to him, or, you know, the attachment styles they have and how much she loves him.
Everything I said, Liam had an answer for it. That conversation was so enlightening because now I know how you feel. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
No, I feel bad too.
I don't feel bad.
Like, her as an outsider can recognize how fucked up this is, and this is a reason to walk away, but she can understand when you're in it, like, it's difficult to walk away because you don't really know what are you walking away from or why, because everything is just confusing. Now, I want to ask you, if you yourself feel, or you are in a situation where the other person makes you feel the way Olivia is feeling, makes you feel stuck, makes you feel constantly doubting yourself. Basically, they're gaslighting you. And let's say you don't really know it, but you do constantly feel like you're confused and you're not heard and so on. And then another person tells you, you know what? I just try to talk to him and I'm not even in the relationship or anything. And I'm telling you, this man is something. Like, I would not deal with this. Like, this is not okay. Would you still continue with that person? Because now you get the confirmation that how you are feeling is not just you, but it's something they're doing. Like, another person came forward about it. Would you take that as a proof to walk away and say, you know what? Exactly. Thank you. Now I have some clarity that I'm not crazy and this man is just like, he's just too good at it. It is very interesting to me that Olivia, despite hearing from Rebecca that Liam has this approach and even she feels confused, still decides to stay with him. And the only reason that I see why this could be happening, if you find yourself in a situation like Olivia, is that you truly believe that you are better. That you are the one who will crack the code. That you are the special one. That you know him better. And yeah, I get how you also got confused and you would just walk away, but, you know, give me a math problem and I can be here for years until I solve it. That's the vibe Olivia is giving to me, honestly, because there is no rational reason why would she still continue. But that's the thing. When you stay stuck in toxic relationships or in relationships when you don't feel loved, when you constantly feel like you need to beg for love and commitment, I mean, what's driving you is unhealthy patterns. And maybe that's what we should focus on. Why am I actually staying? Like, if I'm staying in something that constantly makes me feel bad, then I maybe think I'm staying for love, but it's actually something else. And that's the reason to maybe separate. Of course, there's also the I am not willing to admit that I've invested so much into this relationship and it was all a failure from the get-go. I'm not willing to admit that this is who Liam actually is, so I'm just gonna keep on trying. Now, people, for those of you who haven't watched the show, so Rebecca G, the one who's sharing the house with Liam and talked with Olivia and first believed Liam and now she believes Olivia. She goes to Liam and she's like, listen, man, so here's the thing. Yeah, she talked with this girl. And the details she knows are not something that would someone who didn't sleep with that person know. Okay, like it's a little bit sus that you still claim that you didn't cheat. Now, while he's receiving this information, Liam is looking at her and he's like, okay.
Actually met the girl. The girls told her things that only she would know.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting an intel. Imagine you being told that you've cheated on someone and you never did it. And they start telling you that they have details. And you're like my reaction wouldn't be like, okay, so they have details. Interesting, let's crack this. I would be like, I would lose it. I would literally lose it because I wouldn't believe how someone can come up with such lies. And the reason why Liam can't really, react in a normal way, I would expect, but okay, maybe that's just my expectation, is because, well, if she has these details, and if she talked to the girl, then I guess it could be true.
At the end of the day, like, if she's got details and things like that, I'm willing to own up to this shit, you know what I mean?
This unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. So we went from he doesn't even know the person and he didn't cheat, and Olivia is just, coming up with these allegations because she doesn't trust him and she needs to stop letting other people tell her things in her head, to, well, I'm not sure, to, well, if there is evidence, then I'm willing to own up to it. What? Boy, you know if it's true or if it isn't true. How can you even say that sentence? If there's evidence, then I'll admit to it. Because clearly, even if it is true, he's still going to say that he does not remember and that's why he didn't come clean, right? Even though I don't really remember it and I take the responsibility away, if there's hard evidence, then I have to admit it, right? Unbelievable. And to me, honestly, this just proves again, and especially what I talked in the first video, that he is shutting down the conversation. He is stonewalling her. He's giving her an ultimatum because he thought that she does not have a way to prove it. And if you cannot prove it, then I can keep denying it and you cannot really walk away or do anything because that would be unfair. Because then it just means that you don't trust me. And at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, are you really a good partner to me? That's the whole trick he's playing with Olivia. And he's playing it until he can, until the last resort. And honestly, this tells you everything about what you need to know of Liam in this case, or at least how he is presented in the show, but also anyone like Liam. If they're constantly shutting you down, if they're constantly denying, a lot of the times it will be because that's their strategy. If you don't have exact proof of video of me, which you probably don't, then I'm just going to say that it's not true. And then it's on you to make the decision to leave me because you don't really trust me. You're the one who failed the relationship because you didn't trust them. It's sneaky. Now, before we continue, I just want to kind of, pull a line here, let's say a silver lining. So when it comes to both Lucia and Olivia, we can see that both of these girls are stuck in a situation or in a relationship with the tactic of creating confusion. As I said before, confusion is a way to keep someone in control. Keep them confused, they will stay. And both of these girls, in my opinion, are dealing with that, which keeps them constantly trying to get some kind of reassurance, be it the why. Why did Connor lie about them not seeing each other for 5 years? Or why does Liam lie about cheating? Rather than focusing on the act itself. And when we find ourselves in a situations like this, when we are more focused on the why rather than the actual thing that happened, then we need to ask ourselves, or what would help us is to ask ourselves, am I analyzing him more than how much he is investing in me? If I find myself more occupied and investing more energy into trying to figure out this person, while this person is not investing the same energy into the relationship or me helping him understand him, right? Then who's the moron here? Like, if I need to spend time analyzing you to stay in this relationship, what's the point of us being together? I thought that we hated mathematical problems in school, but I guess not. And also, if you find yourself constantly trying to get more proof, more reassurance, a good exercise would be, sitting down and writing down what would actually make you leave. Like, what would be the thing that would actually make you leave? And if you find it hard to make that decision, or if you keep rephrasing that to justify maybe even the decisions you had so far, then maybe the reality is that the problem is not when will you leave. It's will you ever leave? And if the answer to that is that, well, you basically will never leave, then you need to rephrase every approach you have to to the relationship or therapy. And honestly, I don't know how to help you. I don't know, because I personally do not believe anymore, because I've invested half of my life in something like that, anymore into no matter what. I'm just not. I'm not the ride or die type of thing, unless we are both good to one another. Okay, but if I'm constantly trying to get you to be good to me and for this relationship to be good, then ride or die, no. I'm riding the other lane. Now, if you find yourself in this, did he cheat? Didn't he cheat or whatever? Maybe what would also help is going from did he cheat or did she cheat to am I willing to live in doubt? You know, kind of transform the questions you have, not about this other person or the integrity of other person, but more about self-protection. More about, okay, what am I willing to do or not do if I don't have this answer? Does that make sense? And if you come to a point where you recognize that this is not good, that you have low self-esteem and that you don't want to live in doubt, or you're still confused about it because your identity is so enmeshed in the relationship, I think, or I would suggest to start slowly building that identity outside the relationship. Start having a life outside the relationship or identity outside of the relationship, because that will make you look more clear into the relationship. And not necessarily for the relationship to end, but to have a healthy approach to resolving conflict, to make the relationship actually good. Okay? Okay. Now, both of the couples, because there's so much like lying and confusion about everything, have individual session with our expert Paul, because he needs to get some clarity. So he starts with Lucia and Connor, and does Paul start? Like he sits them down and he's like, look, I've done this so many times, you know? I've helped so many couples, and some couples actually recover from things like this. Some don't, you know? For some couples, there is hope, and for others, it just isn't. And honestly, guys, I like you, okay? But I don't think you're the type of pairing that's going to continue this.
In my heart, I have no doubt that you two will be friends. But I don't know if you two will be romantically involved.
I told you I love this guy. At the same time, sometimes when you're so blunt with people, there's this reverse psychology that can be also at play. You know, if you tell someone, yeah, I don't see it, their competitive side might come up. And they're like, I'll show you compatible. I'm gonna marry this man. I'm gonna have his kids. We're gonna have grandkids. We're gonna have a house. We're gonna have family gatherings celebrating our love. And if it's the last thing I do, and if he has to have some chicks on side, let it be. But we are compatible. So basically, they start the conversations like that. And it's a little bit of a shock for both of them. And then they go to the hookup thing, right? The fact that Connor lied about seeing Lucia before the retreat, they actually hooked up. You know, Paul, the expert, is like, let's talk about that, right? Now, in this whole time, Connor is looking at Lucia like, okay, like he is still trying to lie about them hooking up until Lucia is like, "Bis, calm down, admit it."
Probably like 6 weeks, maybe a month.
Don't lie.
Okay, right.
And when Paul asks Connor, how did it feel hooking up with Lucia? Connor is like, yeah, it was good. The sex was never a problem.
I feel like the whole feelings and stuff maybe wasn't as strong as like when we was in love.
While Lucia is sitting there and being like, yeah, for me, nothing changed.
It felt the same as when I was with him.
Okay. It was meaningful to you.
Yeah.
So there's this moment of, I would not want to be Lucia right now. Because Connor is sitting there like, yeah, we just hooked up. It was cool. While Lucia is there bawling like, I thought it meant something. Tell me something new. Clearly, they are not at the same level when it comes to how they see each other and how much love do they have for one another, which makes me doubt what is the point of these two even being here, okay? And Lucia also admits, or she shares, that she feels like she's a comfort blanket for Connor when there is no other option. And Connor is like, no, that's not it. I don't use you just for sex. It's just, but there's no real spark there,
I don't see it just as sex.
No, but that's
why I'm here. I want to see if there's still that spark.
I really can't. I felt so bad for this woman, seriously. So basically we have on one side Connor, who is just exploring. He just wants to see where they are at and if they can continue, while Lucia is already in and she's in fix-it mode, right? She just needs Connor to have the same attentions. We also find out that despite Connor being Lucia's only serious or real love, Connor actually was in love after Lucia. So also here, we entered this retreat or something as, these two can't let go of each other because it's first love and so on. But what we are getting more and more is like, no, Lucia feels that way. While Connor is literally like, you know what? I fell in love with another person and that didn't work out. And, if I think back, like, you were cool. You are always available, it seems like. So let's try. Like, why not try this thing? Why not? Now, Paul, our Paul, the expert, he is calling the bullshit out. And he's like, look, Connor, my man, if you are not a hell yeah about someone, then it's a no. There is no, let's see. There is no, is there a spark? No. If you're not sure about it, don't invest in it.
And right now, Lucia's not a hell yeah to you, which means that she's a no.
While Lucia, on the other hand, is like, but he keeps saying that he wants this, but then also there's no spark. And that's the whole thing, right? They go into why. Why is Connor at this retreat? Why is he even trying to be with Lucia? Like, why is he here? And this is the moment where we get the why behind everything. Why he cannot let Lucia fully go. And it's because, he experienced passing of, I think, his grandmother. And Lucia was there for him. Like, she was there for him. And that was crazy to him, that someone loves him so much that they stay there and they give him support.
That's when she really stood out to me. I was like, oh my God.
How'd that make you feel to know that she stood for you?
Crazy. Yeah.
Okay. The point is, or where Paul is then driving this whole mediation between the two of them, is that Connor is afraid of trusting that people would be there for him. That's why he can't really let go of Lucia, because she is someone who will be there for him. But because he still is, struggling with that actually being real and people won't just abandon him, he then is very casual about it. He is very unserious, unhinged. Like, he is putting on this immature, unserious persona because in reality, like we said before, he actually wants this connection, but he is afraid of it. Which, okay, fair, I get it. But also, whatever. Like, sometimes it's whatever. Because I'm going to explain why do I have this feeling. So, basically, Lucia double downs on this, right? Because Lucia sees a spark of an opportunity for Connor to finally give in to her and give into this relationship and change.
And I'll always be there for your family, even if this doesn't work out for us.
Yeah. No. I can't even speak.
She makes sure that she reassures him even more that she will always be there for him. And I have a problem with this because how do we always end up here? How do we end up at this man telling her there's no spark, telling her that he's just checking the vibes, but then also asking her to forget about everything and he wants her to now she being the one who is again reassuring him that she will always be there for him because he's in reality afraid of feelings and the other part is just his persona. Like, it happens way too often. And my frustration with this is, when does it stop? Okay, when do we see the reality for what it is? Because from my perspective, what I'm seeing is a man who doesn't care about another person or his ex as much as this ex cares about him. He has her on a back call all the time. And the fact that he knows that she will be there is not this, oh my God, he really needs to connect and he needs it. It's more about, yeah, maybe I should keep her next to me all the time. Like, are we talking about freaking teenagers or are we talking about like adults here? Like, I'm confused. Now, I have to be fair. Clearly, when you are, an expert or like a therapist dealing with a couple, it's not like you're just going to say, yeah, Connor, it's not going to work. Like, clearly you're not into her, so just walk away. He is fair to both of them, right? He needs to also understand why is Connor behaving in the way he does. And he does see that maybe Connor is someone who is not really comfortable with his own emotions and emotional availability. And at the same time, it's not on Paul to tell Lucia what she should recognize or not recognize. Lucia should do that on her own. Because also in, let's say, real life, that's what will actually work. You need to recognize on your own when you are investing in someone's uncertainty, because who's to say that that's even true, okay? Who's to say that that's actually what he struggles with and he wouldn't maybe have that problem with someone else? Like, I get that it has to come from her. But the problem is that Lucia is literally taking his uncertainty or him being unable to emotionally connect or be close to her as an opportunity. Okay? She doesn't see it as, you know what, we're not at the same level and you need to figure this out on your own because I can't invest in potentially you finally being able to. She takes it as, okay, if this is the problem, if he is just scared to connect, if he is just afraid of his feelings and he's afraid to fully trust someone, then I can show him that he can fully trust me. Then I can help him get there. And again, as I said before, we let go of the fact that he betrayed her. We let go of the fact that he lied. We let go of the fact that he's saying that he doesn't feel any spark. We let go of the fact that he's saying that he's just here to check the vibes type of thing. Where is it going? We let go of the confusion that he's constantly creating. And now we focus on, or Lucia focuses now on how she can reassure him, how she can show him that he can trust. Like, isn't it interesting? I think that's something that we should pay attention to. Like, how often when we are seeking reassurance from someone else or, transparency and honesty and so on, we flip it and we start to reassuring them to get that love. Because that's exactly what this please love me turns into. Like, I need to prove you that you should love me. When in reality, the problem started because they showed you that they didn't really love you the way you thought you were loved. And I'm also going to share a little bit unpopular maybe opinion, or maybe it is popular, who knows. But basically, if for a guy like Connor, right, who is very unserious about everything or like has this persona of player, and be it he is not in tune with his emotions or not be it in tune with his emotions, I think that the last thing you should do is baby them even more. The last thing you should do is be even more available to them, even more showing them that they can trust you and reassurance and so on. It's not gonna turn into them just waking up and being like, oh my God, that's why I've been treating you like shit because I am emotionally afraid. Like, I think that that's like some work needs to be done in that area. And if you stay with this person and you almost like baby them, oh, I'm gonna show him, I'm gonna try, blah, blah, blah. I think they just take it then as, well, you'll always be there. And I kind of got away with it, okay? And in some cases, in some very shady cases, it can even turn into As long as I say that, oh my God, it's my feelings or I'm emotionally not available, I'm off the hook. I don't find it productive to say, oh, you have problems with emotionally express yourself. That's why I'm going to invest in this relationship more emotionally while we're going to wait it out if anything will change from your side. You know? I don't know. But let me know in the comments below how you feel about this. Now, I think that this situation between Lucia and Connor is also a very good, let's say, opportunity to talk about real, like other examples that happen in real life. When it's like a guy doesn't want to commit to you or they don't want a relationship or so on, but then they still call you and so on. And then your approach is like, but why do they keep contacting me if they don't want to be with me? But why do they want to spend time with me if they say that they don't want to be with me? And it's almost like you're trying to get an answer, ignoring that you already got an answer. Like they already told you that they don't want to be with you. And the fact that they keep calling you and they keep spending time with you is because you satisfy them in some way. It's because they simply find it easy to do so. They still might enjoy time with you. They still might enjoy intimacy with you. Not might, they do enjoy all of those things. No one is saying that they don't like you. Of course they like you, but they don't like you enough to commit. That's the part to focus on. It's not about getting an answer to why do they contact you that is different from what they already told you, and you think you're going to crack the code and you think you're going to show them differently. They do not like you as much as you want to be liked. That's the reality. They will continue to contact you because why not? Why would I deny myself good time when I can have good time and then I can also dip out whenever I want to dip out? We people are selfish people, okay? And as much as I said it a million times, as much as we want other people to take responsibility for our well-being, it is most likely not going to happen. Because if nothing else, they should take care of their well-being first. And sometimes their well-being is at the expense of your well-being. So, just have that in mind. Now, if you find yourself in this kind of situation and you don't really know how to get out of it or how to get these answers, maybe start by asking, okay, why does he contact me? If the answer to that will change anything about their level of constant commitment. What does it actually change getting that answer when it comes to their commitment? What if letting go means I'm losing my chance, because maybe he doesn't know it yet, but he'll figure it out and maybe this is my only chance and blah, blah, blah. What about if you ask yourself, what if I'm losing my chance for other better opportunities? What if staying in this situation actually prevents me from getting with someone who is better for me? Or if you're asking yourself, how do I, what are his signals? How can I read what he's actually telling me? What about if you ask yourself, am I already getting the answer, but I'm just not wanting to accept it? I'm just postponing the obvious? Those kind of questions could help you take the blinds off, open it and say, time to walk away. But now it's time for Liam and Olivia. And you know what the conversation is going to be about? Well, did Liam cheat or didn't Liam cheat? That's what Paul wants to know because he's, left out of the loop a little bit right now. And Liam starts by again saying that he's kind of annoyed that everyone keeps asking him if he cheated or not cheated because he doesn't remember because it was a drunken night.
It's easy for everybody to say, yeah, you should know, you should know. It was one of them things where it was a drunken night out and I don't really recall it.
Because that somehow makes it more real, right? I want to know, what is that alcohol that erases your memory? Maybe I'm delusional and maybe it exists, but if you are sober enough to actually be in the act of sex, then I don't understand how you can be drunk enough to totally forget about everything. It's not a traumatic experience. It's something that you decided to do. But okay, maybe I don't have enough knowledge. One thing leads to another. I don't even remember how, but basically, Liam confesses that he did cheat.
I am guilty of it, yeah.
after all this time, I guess this, she has the details, so I need to own up to it, made him finally come clean. He did cheat. And Olivia is still sitting there. But again, she's sitting there because it's not about the cheating part. It's about not admitting it, right? Which is problematic in itself. Now, Paul, the expert, is a little bit like, whoop, wait, what? But he challenges Liam a little bit more. He's like, so what made you admit it now? And Liam is like, well, there's evidence. Now, apparently, there's evidence and, I cheated. And Paul is like, so you're telling me that you forgot about sleeping with someone else?
I've kind of I think I did it and kind of erased it from my memory.
Wow.
This is an adult man, okay? All of these people are adults. Look, I don't know if this is the edit and it's making it look like this, but this is freaking ridiculous. And also Paul feels the same because he's like...
That's a bold statement.
Again, I love Paul. Paulie, you've been edited very well in how you are. I have to say that because you never know. Now, Paul pushes on both of them, right? He turns to Liam and he tells him that it's interesting because Liam clearly knows that he is with someone who will put up with everything he does, right? He knows that Olivia's standards are very low, or not standards, like her tolerance level is very high and he can practically get away with anything. And he also says to Olivia that she is someone who is just eating those breadcrumbs, right? She's just like, yum, 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 give it to me. And he tells her that if she keeps saying thank you for those little crumbs, why would Liam share the bread?
He's got a big loaf of bread and he breaks off a little crumb and he's like, Olivia, here you go. Here's a little crumb. And you say, thank you for this crumb.
And if we take in consideration everything that we talked about so far, the breadcrumb is, I'm going to admit it and this will satisfy you, while what actually happened and dealing with that would be the bread. And because Olivia's self-esteem is so low at this point, and she's been used to this gaslighting and stonewalling and so on, she is taking the breadcrumbs and that's enough for her. And because Liam knows that, he's serving her breadcrumbs. Paul also says that he believes Olivia is putting Liam on a pedestal. And he asks her, what does she think would be needed for Liam to be better in this relationship or committing to her more, right?
By setting boundaries.
And Paul is like, girl, you are way past setting boundaries, okay? You need to start loving yourself. Honestly, it feels like people learned, like there's been so much talk about boundaries when it comes to relationships, and rightfully so, but it's almost like now it's the go-to answer. And it's usually used by people who don't even understand what that means. And it's like, I need to set boundaries. That's what I need to do. It's the boundaries. Boundaries won't do shit unless you actually set them from the place of taking care of your well-being. But you can't set them from the place of taking care of your well-being if you don't even take care of yourself well. If I treat myself like shit, if I always put myself second, how can I set boundaries that protect me? How? There is no boundary setting without self-love. This whole time, Liam is looking at Paul and he's looking at Olivia and he's confused. And Paul is like, Liam, let's pause. Let's take a step. Do you think you are on a different level than Olivia?
Of course not. I would like to put her on a pedestal higher than myself.
But do you?
Well, I felt like there's times that I do.
But in practice?
But in practice,
no.
Yeah.
He also asks Liam, what does he need for him to be more open and honest? And to me personally, Liam just comes up with another word, salad.
I most need to work on actually taking time out to understand and listen to Olivia when she is coming forward with things that she's insecure about.
Like, is this not a word salad? I don't know. he looks at her and he's like, I do worry that you don't put yourself first. And I want you to be able to put yourself first. And side note, in my personal opinion, I find it very difficult to believe that, or if, someone like Liam would behave this way, because he loves the fact that Olivia puts other people first, right? And also their whole relationship seems to be in that way. Liam is on one level and Olivia is just a little bit more lower. So the fact that he says that he wants her to be first or to put herself first, I personally don't really believe that for all those reasons. Because like I said, I think men like Liam do choose people who put them below their partner. He might think he wants that, but all his actions are showing differently. In my opinion, knowing nothing about these people apart from what is shown on the show, I would say he's just saving face in front of, in this case, Paul, but also like the TV. Like he's being called out left and right, and he's just kind of, saying whatever he needs to say to basically keep Olivia next to him. I don't think he even cares on some level if all the rest will actually believe him, as long as she believes him. They end the session by Olivia saying that she needs a little bit more time to digest all of this, right? Digest everything that happened. And when she goes back to the girls, she tells him that Liam finally admitted it. And the ladies are like, this, I knew it. I mean, it was obvious.
Well, he admitted to it. Oh my God.
I knew it.
Honestly.
And they kind of get into the whole thing about technically how shady Liam is, and pointing out that the only reason he came clean is because he was pressured by Paul, right? Otherwise, he would not come clean, because this whole time he was constantly deflecting, saying that people are after him, saying that Olivia can't let go and she's just coming up with shit, believing everyone, then saying that he doesn't remember, then saying it's a drunken lie, then saying if there is evidence, I will admit it, to now actually admitting it and saying that, yeah, it did happen. And not only that, later in the confession, like in the reckoning room, he even says that he knows the girl and he did sleep with her. So, let that sink in. The level of denial and gaslighting that he was going through, or he was pushing on Olivia and other people just to protect himself, I think that's all you need to know about someone like Liam. Like how this man needs serious intervention and therapy to ever do something that is good for the other person and not just for him, in my personal opinion. They also say that in retrospect, how effed up is even the fact that he was telling Olivia that she needs to shut it down. She needs to stop questioning him. And he was threatening of leaving if she keeps doubting him, knowing that he did cheat on her, knowing that she is right and she's not being crazy.
He gave you that ultimatum knowing full well that you had sex with that girl.
Looking at the situation, I do not understand how Olivia continues with him, because she continues to work on this relationship. But at the same time, we're going to talk a little bit about it, like what could be actually driving her. Liam, on the other hand, is back at the house and he's like, the way this man is talking is so frustrating to me, because he, again, like he says to some of his closest friends there in the house that, he had to admit it, that, yeah, it was factual.
It actually turned out to be factual.
It was factual. Like, factual. Like, it's, he's detaching himself from it so, like, it's insane. It's not factual. You did it, period. Now, in the confessionals, Olivia says that she knew all along that Liam did it, and the fact that he finally admitted feels such a relief. And now she feels like they can really move forward from it.
I feel some sense of relief, because now I know that I wasn't going crazy and I wasn't making stuff up.
Breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs, Olivia, breadcrumbs. You're accepting the fact that he admitted it, but you're totally ignoring that he lied, and also that he actually did do it. You didn't even come to a point where you can understand why did he do it, because you were so occupied with getting the confession that now getting a confession feels like, a relief. I survived to win. this battle, not realizing that there is a whole war that's, right behind her or in front of her or side. She is in the war. Now, where do things get honestly, very sad and very dark in this situation is that Olivia might see this as a way of him finally being honest, right? Him finally taking a step forward so they can now work on the relationship. When in reality, because he was pushed to the last point until he admitted it, that doesn't mean that he is also that he took the accountability for it. It means that he was just forced to admit it. While she is looking at it, well, he's finally honest. But it wasn't his decision. He was pushed to do it. But if you, as Olivia, accept this as a sign of honesty or something, you're positioning yourself in always needing to catch the other person, in always being in detective mode rather than partner mode. Because again, he didn't approach this with honesty. He was forced to be honest. The fact that she is relieved by him admitting, and as I said, that's actually a breadcrumb that she is accepting, this just keeps reinforcing her low self-esteem and lowering her standards about what she accepts. And if we take the whole thing of how he tried to use I don't remember as an excuse or as, that's why he can't admit it, I call the bullshit. I think when you use I don't remember, especially in these clear situations, it's more of a control move because now you're focusing on did the event actually happen and Olivia investing energy improving that rather than focusing on the disrespect and working on that part. Why does that happen? Because if you think about it, also this whole time they wasted on her getting admission from him rather than already working on that. Unfortunately, it does seem that Olivia, despite it all, is taking this session as a breakthrough, as something that, gives her confidence to move forward rather than recognizing that this man is beyond help. My opinion. And as I said before, it is because she is at this point, she's so desperate to being recognized as rational and not crazy, to proving that she's not paranoid, to proving that she's not delusional, to proving that she's not just trying to blame him and she doesn't trust him, that she is just relieved that at least she is not crazy. It's almost like being right fogs everything else, overpowers everything else. And it is a very normal, I think it's a very normal outcome of the cycle of high stress and then relief, And I think this is where Olivia is. She's going through this high stress of, will he admit? Am I being paranoid? Is this person lying? Is he lying? To finally getting an answer, which feels like a relief. She gets that dopamine hit and she feels like that's the solution. Forgetting that the fact that you went into this cycle means that the truth is actually outside. And if you find yourself in a situation like this, I think the question that will help is, am I prioritizing honesty over the actual hurt? Right? And when you're prioritizing that, then maybe you need to check your foundations and check your baseline, because your baseline is very fragile. Because if honesty is not the baseline and that's actually a standard that you need to reach, then I'm sorry to break it to you, but that relationship is very difficult to be healthy. Okay, I'm going to be nice about it. So after this little intervention with Paul, it's time for the reckoning room. And when it comes to Lucia and Connor, basically, they agree to continue and give this relationship a shot. Connor says that now he is ready to do it.
I'm 100% into this for us to work. But I feel like for me to do that, I feel like you really need to let go of the past.
Lucia, on the other hand, basically, she's just taking a moment of Connor's vulnerability and taking that as the highlight of everything. The proof that there is something there and she should fight for it, I guess.
I do believe that the cheating and everything, I got my why.
Yeah?
I've left that in the past. You've shown me a very vulnerable side.
And it was nice.
Which honestly, I think this is something that we do. There would be a consistent pattern of non-commitment, unserious. But then when they show us that one small snippet of something deeper being there, then we hold on to it like it's our last chance to survive. That's the vibe I'm getting between Lucia and Connor. But basically, they want to move forward. Now, when it comes to Olivia and Liam starts by saying how he learned that you need to step up and admit your wrongdoings.
You know, there's certain things that I need to man up to, and it's definitely important for you to show transparency and know that when you're in the wrong, you just step up.
And Liam just turned 10. Now, the host, Amanda, pushes Liam a little bit, like what exactly happened, because Liam did confess that he cheated, but he didn't really say it now in front of everyone, right?
You know, of course, it did happen.
What? Sorry, what happened?
Oh.
That he slept with someone else.
Now, people in the room are like, what? Oh my God, man, I really trusted you, and so on. So they kind of feel betrayed by Liam, the same way, I guess, Olivia does. So apparently, he cheated on Olivia 7 years into the relationship. So 3 years before this breakup. And he said that he thought that this is just one of those things that doesn't hold weight, but obviously it did. Which I'm baffled by this man, seriously. I don't know if the edit is presenting him this way or he literally is this way, but man, oh man, damn.
You know, I thought it was just another one of them things where it didn't hold no weight, and in the end, it obviously did.
Now, the rest of the people are again a little bit like, what the F are you talking about, right? What do you actually mean by saying that? The reason why he wasn't honest about what happened is because from his perspective, it didn't really matter that much, right? Because he knows that he wants to continue with Olivia, and he figured this would just put us 10 years back, because the first time he did it was a long time before he could regain that trust. That's why he did it again, right? Which honestly again shows how Liam is seemingly all about himself. Because even when he cheated, he didn't think about how will this impact Olivia or how will this impact the relationship. He was like, you know what? I don't think this is important, so I'm gonna decide to not share this with her. It's all about protecting himself, and if he doesn't feel like it, if he cannot recall it, then that's what should matter. And I don't know if it's clear to you, but to me, the only person that can do something like that is someone who does not see their partner as equal. And they see them as someone who is a little bit dumb. So I'm gonna decide what's good for you. And good luck with that dynamic. All of this leads to Liam also kind of admitting why did he even come clean in the first place. And he again repeats that it is because there was hard evidence.
I didn't know the depths of what it was, and I didn't know what had been said.
You didn't know how...
I didn't know what had been said at that time.
All right.
Okay?
Like, I don't even know why we're entertaining this, to be honest. But basically, like I said before, it does come out that he did know the person and he did cheat with the person. But because he didn't think that there's actual proof, he didn't want to share it, because what's the point? It just hurts Olivia, and that's not what he wants. He wants to continue with her. He loves her, and that's it. Me. Now, Paul, the expert, pushes Liam a little bit, and he's like, so you admit that you lied?
Yeah, I lied. And I own it.
What? Which is like, do you need to say you own it? Do you get extra points by saying I own it? What the F? Give me a break. Like, this is seriously unbelievable. Now he's gonna, feel like he is the man because he owns it. What about the fact that you lied? Where's the man being in that? As they did in this individual session, Paul again points out that Olivia should be better at showing up for herself in this relationship. And when he asks her what does she need from Liam to have the trust that they can continue this, she asks Liam if he is able to put her as a priority.
Do you think you could make me a priority in your life?
I'm willing to be, that man that you need me to be and step up.
So will you make me a priority?
Of course I will.
Which, first of all, I don't even know how this woman still believes this man after all of this, which in itself is such a red flag. or not a red flag, but like I genuinely feel that this is like really seriously hurtful to her. And second of all, it is so strange to hear someone saying or asking the other person to put them as a priority when you just agreed that you should put yourself more front and center in this relationship. And yet, Olivia asks Liam to do that. Now, of course, I get it because the question was, what do you need from Liam? But it would be so much better if she would say, I need for Liam to go to therapy. I need for him to literally start destructing these beliefs that he has and this comfort he has around lying, around treating me as less equal in general. I need that from him while I'm going to work on my self-love and standing up for myself. Rather than asking him to make her a priority when he did not do it in 10 years. Like, I don't know about you, but 10 years is a long time. There's so much comfort around treating another person in a certain way that, man, it has to, like, they need experts to actually help them overcome that. It's not just going to be, Liam is now just going to, because he went to this retreat, be a different person. No. Like, just think about your habit of scrolling before you go to bed and try and stop doing that. Why do we think that when it comes to human behavior or treating another person that can just change like this? Please. Another thing is, by her focusing on Liam's, like making her a priority, she's also creating a very easy short-term confirmation, right? Who's to say that it's not easy for Liam to make her a priority for a month, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, even for a couple of months? What about long-term priority? Like, that's what I'm saying. When she says, I want him to make me a priority, it's a very fragile goal, I think. There's too much room for this just being a temporary thing rather than long-term changes. Also, I do not understand how she's connecting the honesty and priority, because this man hasn't been honest, and that's the part that they should work on. But she thinks that if he makes her a priority, then he's also going to be honest. And that does not, like, it's very difficult for that to make sense. I can make you a priority and still be dishonest. Not telling you that I cheated on you means that I'm prioritizing your well-being. Right? I think Olivia is, because of everything we talked about, she's almost taking honesty as a sign of devotion, as a sign of because he was honest, he really wants me now and he really wants this relationship. It isn't. He wants the relationship because it's easy, to be honest. It's like what Paul says, because he can basically do whatever he wants. I also want to add here, when we ask to be put as a priority, what we're actually asking is just to be loved in the way that we want a partner to love us. And if you actually need to ask someone to do that, then I'm afraid that the truth is, the reality is, the honesty is that they are just not that into you and into the relationship. Because I can love you and I can be into you, right? And we can have this relationship. But if every time I put myself first, I put my work first, I put my friends first, how much do I actually love you in the way a partner should be loved, right? How much am I actually doing this together with you, and how much I am doing it on my own and everything that I have is a priority and you're just here for the ride? Then, of course, if you want to have that kind of relationship, sure. But I think in this case, Olivia is seeking for a partnership type of relationship. I mean, if you need to ask to be a priority after 10 years and your partner is only honest with you when they're pushed to a corner, then you're basically just asking for some kind of surface level feeling that this is good and you're putting me as a priority when the core is basically I'm sorry to say this, but rotten. But this is now the time when they focus on the future. It's like we talked about the past, both Lucia and Connor, Olivia and Liam, and now they're going to focus on what will the future bring or how to work on improving our relationship or where to go from here. And the first thing, like honestly, they don't show us much in the show how they worked on things. There's only like one group exercise, which in the case of Liam and Olivia, suddenly we flip the page and now we are just loving and we trust each other. Olivia feels like she's safe with Liam and that's it. That's it. All she needed is for him to be honest and now she's back on track and this is it.
It's weird, like just touching each other's back. It feels safe, like I feel secure.
It's not so hostile and I feel like, you know, we've kind of moved forward a little bit.
But well done, well done.
When it comes to Lucia and Connor, we actually do have even more breakthrough. So they have like a series of questions that they need to ask each other. Oh yeah, it's about finishing sentences. And Lucia honestly is giving desperate. Like she is so desperate for this man.
Connor, when I see you, I feel
excited. I feel like you spark something inside of me and I like it.
So the spark is there.
I heard him say
Which
it.
also kind of shows what happens when you take one moment of vulnerability as a sign of something deeper, of deep commitment. And your standards suddenly lower. Because Lucia, all this time that she went through all these mixed signals and so on, she exchanges that for this moment of vulnerability from Connor, adding on that he wants her to let go of the past, pushing her into now being the one who needs to reassure him and being so happy that there maybe is some kind of spark. But the problem is that this crashes and burns very fast. Lucia has the opportunity to directly ask Connor if he loves her.
I feel like right now, I definitely have love for Lucia. I wouldn't say I'm in love. So I don't love you, but I still care for you.
And this obviously makes Lucia very emotional and cry. And again, I don't even know why she's here. Why is she trying this? She should just walk away. Somehow the exercise ends that Lucia still feels that they have something great together. And honestly, she needs therapy. I mean, this man is telling you in your face on multiple occasions that he's not that into you. And yet you still hold on to that fantasy. And she does that because she's looking at his, not empathy, what's the other word? You know, when you don't really have the emotions type thing, as a sign or as a wound that she can heal. Paul, the expert, hits them again with his truth, his point of view. And basically he says that there's a lot of physical attraction between the two of them, but there's not much more going on and they need to work on that, figure that shit out. He's also kind of saying that they need to start listening to each other. And honestly, I think he's saying that to Lucia. It's the subtweet. She's like, you need to listen to each other. But what he's trying to say is, Lucia, let's calm down. You need to actually hear what he's saying. He told you he does not love you. He told you there is no spark. So, wake up. Now, I guess some time passes. Honestly, the timeline is so weird because I think at one point I even came across that the retreat only lasts a week. So that makes it even more confusing how quick everything is like just fixed. So it's time to meet the families, right? What will the people outside who know these people say about their progress? And when it comes to Lucia and Connor, oh my God, this was such comedy. So they meet Connor's best friend, and Lucia's sister. And Lucia and Connor come there and they're like, it's been great. Like the progress we made so far, it's unbelievable. Like, it's shocking to both of us.
We've surprised ourselves.
No, bro,
I've seen a completely different side to him.
And the friend and the sister are like, really? Oh, wow, really? And they're like, yeah, it's crazy. It is. We are like as totally different people. It basically ends in both of them calling out the bullshit, okay?
You don't seem convinced.
I'm not. I'm really not.
I'm shortening it, but the outcome is that Lucia's sister is like, Lucy, my girl, this is nothing new. What I'm hearing, first of all, I'm not convinced at all by what you two are saying. But at the same time, we've been through this so many times already. Though Lucia is like, but you know what? The difference is that I'm a totally different person than what I was before I came here.
I know what I want. I know my boundaries. If Connor can't meet them, I'm walking.
And it's like, yo, can't you see that you're already making a mistake? But okay, let's be understanding, because honestly, this is so common also in real life. The thing is, when you're caught into it, when you're desperate, also when you're constantly being confused about what this person actually wants, I mean, it's easy to be blinded even more. Now, on the other hand, Connor's friend, he's like, my man.
Mate, I think you're nuts. I'm not convinced on it at all. Yeah. I think it's a load of shit.
Look, I know you said before, oh, I want to settle down and have family. But boy, the weekend after, you're all in party mode. And, I don't think this is real. I think you're bullshitting yourself. And both of them are kind of saying, I think this retreat is making you feel like there is something more, when in reality, it really isn't. Like, you're living in this bubble, and when you come out, you're going to see the truth. And, it can go both ways. You can say that people don't really have good support for these two, right? And maybe if they would have more supporting friends, it would be better. But then on the other hand, you can say, well, sometimes people just see through the bullshit, call it out, and that's it. It doesn't mean that they're just trying to destroy them, right? Now, the outcome of this is that Lucia is still convinced, right? Yes, her sister has doubts. Yes, this friend has doubts, but she knows and she really trusts that Connor has changed. While Connor is like, yeah, okay, maybe my friend is right, Maybe this is not it. And honestly, if you are so quick in not trusting yourself, because apparently Connor wanted to now fix this relationship and so on, and then a friend says, yeah, I don't think you're actually going to do it. The fact that he drops it so quickly is a bit, I think it just confirms again that Connor is not in this with his right intentions. Now, Lucia is upset about this, but Connor is claiming that he's just expressing that this made him doubt about the whole situation, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't want to continue. So it's a little bit of mixed again, right? Now, when it comes to Olivia and Liam, oh boy, I need to take a step for this. So they meet Olivia's best friend, Celine. And she is actually the friend that broke the news about Liam cheating, and Liam's sister. Now, basically, Liam again starts saying that he admitted it, and that, now he knows that there needs to be honesty, but he also says that they just need to let go of the past and continue.
Long story short, I ended up cheating.
Yeah.
I've obviously admitted to that, apologized, groveled.
Yeah.
But the main thing is to move forward.
And Celine is not buying it. She's like, honestly, I don't really believe it. And Liam, Liam shows his true colors again.
I feel like you're giving me a speech.
Again, when it comes to relationships, Celine, I do think that you're not really the one to be giving me advice.
Okay, Liam.
Well, your track history is not the best, mate. So.
Is it not? Why?
Am I lying?
Really,
Am I lying?
Liam?
Am I lying?
Really?
You see, this is the thing, people. When you are not really genuinely understanding that you did wrong and how did that wrong impact not only your partner, but also other people who were involved in this, you will have a problem when someone doesn't accept that out of the get-go, right?
I didn't even say anything bad, and you've already said...
All right, Celine. Am I telling you lies about your track record?
Like that, there we go. That's the Liam. It's all coming out. It's not a change, Liam, then, is it? Look at that.
Because Liam wants everyone to just be on board that he now understand that he did wrong. If he would actually understand that, when Celine is saying that she doesn't really believe it, a man or a person that actually understands it would say, look, I know I've created a lot of hurt. I know it is very, very difficult to now just trust me from today till tomorrow, but I am willing to show you that I want to change, that I want to be honest, and I want to be open. And I know that the hurt that I created, it will take some time before you fully trust me again. And I think that there's another couple, or not I think, but there was another couple that did exactly that when they faced the same backlash from the friends and family situation. But Liam, he flips on this best friend and basically attacks her. That what does she know about relationships? And somehow Olivia from the edit, seems to be just sitting there and not doing anything. And she still continues by saying to this best friend that she does trust Liam and they are willing to put the past behind and work on moving forward.
But I love Liam.
I know you do. But you have to remind yourself of how he has been for the 10 years, not these 2 weeks.
It does feel that she's so deep into this that I don't know, if I was in Olivia's position, honestly, you know what? When you are in that position, it's very difficult to do anything for yourself, actually. But I also believe that life shows you in some way. I do believe in, even when you're not able to stand up for yourself or you're not seeing the deceit, like life will push you in some way to recognize that. Be it feeling low all the time, feeling paranoid all the time, or something actually happening again, maybe Liam cheating again and so on, for her to really understand that she needs to work on herself and work on how much she is prioritizing this man over everyone. It's not impossible. Like, I know I've said a couple of times that I think Olivia is beyond repair at this point, but I'm also being a little bit, I'm commenting on a reality TV. But if you find yourself in that position, like, it is not impossible. But one thing that it's not advisable is to literally cut everyone out who is maybe a voice of doubt. Because sometimes those voices of doubt, I'm not saying you need to go by them, but at least they keep you on a track where you're constantly working on having a good relationship, right? But if you eliminate all those voices and then you're just in that bubble together with, in this case, Liam, it is very, very difficult to climb out of it on your own. Not impossible, but a bit more challenging. And why am I saying this? Long story short, Olivia and Celine, after 10 or 11 years of friendship, cut all ties, it seems. And not only that, later it comes out that basically she had like a group of friends, they hang out together, and this group of friends is now a little bit, the way she said it is like, I'm being left out of that group. And I wonder how much is it because of her decisions to believe Liam over having this girl's support. Because, we talked about it in, I think, SATC series. There is always this challenge between, as a friend, when do I also remove myself from this toxic situation, for example, the partner, and when do I just say, you know what, I'm always going to be there and stand by my friend because she needs support. It's not that easy to make those decisions, especially if you feel like it goes against then your well-being, which I think would probably happen with Celine based on how everything went down.
Olivia needs to understand that there's always going to be people like Celine.
Always.
Always going to be people like Celine.
This just shows you, like, not everyone's going to be rooting for your couple, like, 100%. You together.
100%.
Now, after this confrontation, Liam and Olivia do have a conversation, and Liam admits that he shouldn't have flipped, right? That he should restrain himself. And, that's again part of the process, right? He's learning, which to me, again, is wrong focus. Wrong focus. It's not about you flipping. It's about why did you flip? That's the part. And then maybe they did talk about that part, but they didn't really show it to us. So I want to make, for everyone who's watching this, just to realize that the point is not him flipping and saying, I shouldn't flip, because that's given, right? The point is, why did you flip? And what is driving that? Why do you feel like you can't acknowledge that also other people are hurt and have a hard time trusting you and working on that? Like, that's the part that he should focus on. Now, all of this comes to the final decision of moving forward. And before they do that, they come to the reckoning room and everyone had to write a list of deal breakers. And the other person needs to accept these deal breakers, and then they would go out into the real world, I think for 4 weeks, and then come back and see where they are at. Now, when it comes to Lucia and Connor, basically Connor does not give a chance to Lucia to share her deal breakers because Connor already knows that he does not want to continue this.
I don't feel like me and you are going to process any further.
Now, this comes to shock to Lucia. And to us, it doesn't come as a shock. But to her, it does, because apparently, up to that time, he didn't give her any indication that he doesn't want to continue. And it's like, why did you even lead me on to then come to this reckoning place and say, yeah, I'm not going to do this?
Why didn't you tell me yesterday? We were face to face. You could have said there and then.
Is it justifiable that Lucia is upset? I think it is, because we cannot neglect that Connor himself did play a little bit of a double game. And we don't really know everything that was happening, but clearly there was confusion between not having the spark yet, not loving her, but wanting to have this relationship with her. So it's not so black and white just to say, oh, Lucia was just being a dum-dum. But I think it is a good way to learn and say, like Paul said, if it's not a hell yes from the beginning, then don't even bother, right? Because you shouldn't put all your hopes in the uncertainty of another person because you believe it so well or so much. Now, after the 4 weeks, when they come back together, it seems like, the brain has readjusted. And at this point, Lucia is like, you know what? Thank God we didn't continue, because clearly he was leading me on all the time and he's not the one, and I'm happy I'm out of it. Connor, on the other hand, wants to give another blow, right? Because he's like, well, you know what? You should thank me, right? Because I'm the one who pushed you away. It's not you who walked away.
And if you don't feel like you were being cherished,
step away.
But you knew this.
Pushed you away.
Early.
What was that?
Pushed you away, didn't step away, did you?
Oh, well done, Con.
You're welcome.
I've learned the lesson.
But Paul, the expert, calls Connor out and he's like, you know what, Connor? That's unfair. That is really unfair, because you need to take the responsibility of your role in leading her on.
You were basically 90-10 in this process.
Yeah.
That 10% of hope, that's what kept Lucia in the retreat. So I want you to be more aware of how your emotions and your behaviors impact others.
Okay.
Which I think was very good and very fair. But basically, they're separated. And despite Paul believing that they might be friends, it's like, no, Lucia is over it. Thank God. Now, when it comes to Liam and Olivia, and let's start first with the deal breakers because it is so revealing. So Olivia's deal breakers are, and I'm just going to read it. She wants him to prioritize her feelings with the decision he makes and
considering my feelings with your actions. I need full commitment from you.
Deal breaker number 2. She wants him to publicly commit to her, so aka put her on Instagram, which he never did. And the third thing is she also wants further commitment. So knowing that they will move in together and then eventually also get married. Liam has his own deal breakers. And let me read these. She needs to let go of the past and draw a line under everything that has already happened, because they can't let it determine their future.
We can't let it determine our future, and I can't keep groveling for the same mistakes time and time again.
So his first deal breaker is that whatever happened in the past, she cannot mention it because it is done. This is now the future.
Allow me to maintain relationships with my female friends without feeling jealous and not making me feel bad when I do go and see them.
The man has changed, people. Don't forget that. The man has changed. But somehow, he still sticks to the things that Olivia was expressing as problematic. Now, of course, Olivia feels some type of way about him saying this because the problem is not him spending time with female friends. The problem is him not acknowledging her or prioritizing them over Olivia. And it's so ridiculous. Honestly, it's so ridiculous. Now, when this conversation is happening, we see, and Paul also mentions it, how Liam wanted to say something, but then, he was quiet, right?
Liam, there was a moment where Olivia was talking about female friends and you prioritizing them.
Yeah.
And that moment, I saw you go like this. I think what you were doing, you were like, should I give my energy to this? Should I? And you said, no, I'm not gonna give my energy to that.
And honestly, I don't get it. I do not get it because yes, he was quiet about it, but that's not the point. The point is, why did he even feel like he wants to say something? And it is because he still does not really respect Olivia's wishes and what it takes for them to rebuild that trust. Because he still wants to make sure that Olivia allows him to hang out on his own with his female friends. When she is in a space where she needs to feel a bit more comfortable with it, right? She needs to still rebuild that trust, but he's not willing to do that. But somehow, compliments for being quiet. Wow. But let me ask you, do you think that there's hope? Do you think that Liam actually, learned things from this and their relationship is going to be better? Well, 4 weeks later, they come back and they are still continuing, right? They're still going strong. And honestly, I don't know. Basically, here is the time when we find out that